That'd be fantastic. But there's one thing I wanted to watch. Remember we watched that Star Wars thing last week?
Sure.
Episode 2 of it's out, and I thought we could watch that. I haven't watched it yet myself, so I'm watching it blind for the first time. So I thought it'd be cool if we could watch this series together, and I enjoyed listening to it last week with you and getting your opinion on it. So I'm going to boot up episode 2. Apologies to anyone who is listening to us, because these videos have cool art and everything in them, so maybe jump over to YouTube and watch it. Here we go.
Glad you guys liked my fan fiction for Snoke. As promised, let's continue on to part 2.
Sorry.
I'd like to ask you to do one thing
Are you good?
before we begin, and that's just hit the like button. It helps more people see this.
Oops. Oh, God.
I'd like to ask you to do one thing for me before we begin.
Does that sound okay?
Hit the like button.
Yeah.
Want it louder?
More people see this video.
No, you're good. I think it's good.
Thanks, guys. Luke Skywalker had restored hope to the galaxy. The Empire had fallen, the Jedi were returning, and for a brief time there was peace. But that peace, of course, didn't last. Luke felt it first. A disturbance, subtle but cold, like a wound reopening in the Force. He followed it. He shouldn't have, but he did. The trail led him to Snoke. This was their only direct confrontation, and it nearly ended both of their lives. Luke found him on a world steeped in the dark side, a place the old Jedi had erased from their archives, hoping no one would ever find it again. Thanks to the Emperor's archives that Luke had found, he knew how to get to this place, and he definitely did find it. The terrain here was very jagged. The sky was bruised with lightning, and beneath its surface, the Force churned like a living storm. Snoke was waiting, not as a man, but as a presence. Half alive, half devoured by the very power that he tried to control. His body was already disfigured, his skin cracked from the strain of holding so much energy that reality itself seemed to resist him. He greeted Luke not with a challenge, but a smile.
"Skywalker,"
he said, his voice echoing through the Force.
"You came looking for the end of the Sith. You found something worse."
Luke drew his lightsaber.
Oh, that's cool.
Emerald green glow, as bright as we remember. The duel that followed wasn't just physical. Every clash of their power rippled across the galaxy.
Can you hear the lightsaber noises and stuff?
Disturbance only lay
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
from halfway across the stars. Lightning and fire erupted across the ruins, the Force itself screaming through the air. This was a fight that would be so dramatic, so epic, that it would almost completely shadow out the Mustafar duel of Anakin and Obi-Wan. And yes, of course, I would love to see Nick Gillard to choreograph this fight. Now, Snoke, of course, doesn't have a lightsaber, so how is he fighting? Well, he's literally fighting with a Force lightsaber. He is that powerful. Still weak, but very strong. Luke fought as he had never fought before. Every strike carried the strength of the masters who came before him. Yoda's wisdom, Obi-Wan's calm, Anakin's precision, and Qui-Gon's balance. He was the living embodiment of the Jedi. He was all of them. But Snoke wasn't a Sith bound by rules. He fought with corruption, draining the energy of everything around him. Life, light, and memory. Each time Luke struck, Snoke absorbed that energy. Luke wasn't just fighting. When he fought, he was using the Force to enhance his speed, enhance his thinking, enhance his perception into the Force itself, and his reflexes. Snoke absorbed all of this, reshaping the Force around it. And when Luke realized that he couldn't win this alone, he reached out through the Force, and the Force answered. Yoda, Anakin, and Obi-Wan appeared beside him, not as distant ghosts, but as luminous figures, their energy flickering like the sun through water. Together, they struck at Snoke with every ounce of power that they could summon, and for a moment, just a moment, they overwhelmed him. Then Snoke turned his focus on the impossible. He reached not for Luke, but for the spirits themselves, for they too were made of the Force. He stretched his hand into the luminous Force and fed. His sights were on Obi-Wan, whose ghost was beginning to flicker.
No,
his voice
not
cried
Obi-Wan.
out through the currents of light. Luke! Before the glow of his form was drawn into Snoke's grasp, Luke watched in horror as his master's spirit, the mentor who guided him since Tatooine, was devoured. Snoke didn't just consume Obi-Wan's essence, he absorbed it. His aura changed, rippling with the faintest echo of Kenobi's calm voice twisted into mockery. "The Force will be with you," he whispered. "Always."
Oh man, I can't believe he actually killed
letting go of the
Kenobi.
restraint that made
How
him a
dare you.
Jedi. The ground shattered beneath his feet, the Force exploding outwards in raw fury. His blade struck true, carving through Snoke's side and unleashing a blinding burst of light. When it cleared, Snoke was down, his body burned, scarred, his form broken. The pain was real, but the victory wasn't. Luke collapsed. His arm was scorched, the air around him thin and poisonous with dark energy. And as Snoke laughed through the smoke, Luke felt his own connection to the Force slipping away. That was when Yoda and Anakin appeared beside him, their forms weak and flickering as well, but still holding the remnants of light. They shielded him from Snoke's final attack, the blast that would have ended him. The three of them, Luke and the last of the Force spirits, disappeared in a flash of energy. The Force itself intervened, pulling Luke across space to the one place that Snoke couldn't reach, Ahch-To. This wasn't done by design. This was pure luck and chance that the Force ghosts ended up transporting him here to this random island somewhere
That's
in the
Ireland,
galaxy.
by the way.
They were unable to commune with him
I've
any
been there.
longer, for they were becoming too
Really?
weak, and they were too afraid that their energies would lead Snoke to him. They disappeared as soon as Luke landed on the island. And when he woke,
That's the
he
only
was
thing I liked
broken,
about the sequence.
not in
is they were
body,
shot
but
in
in
Ireland.
faith. He'd won nothing. Snoke lived, damaged, scarred, more powerful than ever, and now carrying with him the stolen remnants of Obi-Wan Kenobi's essence. Luke could feel it, faintly echoing in the dark, the voice of his master now trapped inside of a monster. So Luke made his choice. He severed his connection to the Force completely. He believed it was the only way to stop Snoke from finding him again, because he knew if he saw Snoke once more, that this would be the end of him. Snoke was now more powerful by the day, and with Obi-Wan's energy absorbed, he would surely destroy Luke and go after all of the people that he loved. If he cut himself off, he could disappear entirely, no presence, no light for Snoke to follow. And he would study, he would train as much as he could, not in the Force, but in his mind. Because if Snoke ever found him, he would consume him just as he had Obi-Wan, and if he gained Luke's full power, he would become unstoppable. Leia didn't know, Han didn't know. They searched for him for years, believing that he had abandoned them. But maybe Luke wasn't hiding out of fear or cowardice. He was protecting them, protecting the galaxy itself. In essence, from himself. When Rey finally found him, he wasn't angry because she'd interrupted his solitude. He was terrified. He thought she'd led Snoke straight to him, because Luke knew what no one else did. If Snoke ever found him again, it wouldn't just end the Jedi, it would end everything. And that brings us right to essentially the beginning of The Last Jedi. So now we have an understanding of why Luke actually went away to this island, try to design something in the very confined world of the sequel trilogy that they created. So we do know, at least in the EU, that teleportation does also exist. However, I think it's a little bit on the nose if we use something from one of the new canon books as well. So with Luke landing on this planet, he doesn't have time to go off and tell anyone anything. So he's just cut himself off from the Force entirely, and he uses this time to study the Jedi texts. He uses this time to train in his mind, away from the Force, and essentially how we saw him was, well, we'll never see him like that again in this version. But the reason he is off on that island is to cut himself off from the Force and is to stay away from Snoke until he can figure out how to defeat him. So it's completely different than what we saw in the film, where he went there to die, as he says, which is not Luke Skywalker. It's not what George wrote for his character, and it's just a coward. So I think that this is already leading it up to a much more plausible explanation as to why Luke had to go away, why he disappeared, why he cut himself off from the Force itself and abandoned his religion. It's not because he didn't believe in it anymore. It's because he was afraid that he would lose, that he would die, and Snoke would get all of his powers, the powers of the Chosen One's son, and then he would be unstoppable. So he knew he would have a better chance if he actually was to just cut himself off from everything and train and learn and study. And so this also falls in line with the movie that, you know, the ghosts didn't reach out to him, blah, 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 for all of this reason, because they too were afraid. Now, can we get Obi-Wan Kenobi back? Well, we'll have to wait and see. But the premise here is to really be within the confines of what JJ and Rian Johnson decided to do, which was garbage in my opinion. But if I were to write this is how I would set it up after knowing all that, or at least how I would clean it up. Let's say if we're going to go into episode 9, this is how I would do it. Or this, you know, if we're going to go into episode 8, let's say this is how I would do it. So hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think. Trying to make the best of this from what we have, but it's kind of difficult, of course. So let me know if you would like a part 3. If you do, please comment below. Please leave a like, and I'll see you guys in that one. So have an awesome rest of your day. Check out theorysabers.com. We're having our big sale right now.
Nice.
Hell
yeah, dude. Hell yeah. It's like, I think they tried to explain some of this stuff in like comics and stuff like that, which I think, you know, how many people are reading the Star Wars comic books that are based around this time? Probably not that many. So most people are probably just pissed off at what they got, and they don't really know much of the extended story that's in canon. But I think they did try and explain some of this stuff in canon, if I'm not mistaken. Like where they had said that, you know, Luke had met him before and they fought, and Luke basically almost lost, and that's why he ran away. And it'd just be nice if they actually put that stuff into the film and, you know, let us actually see it happen, because then it would make a lot more sense to when you see him becoming like a hermit at the end, and you're like, why the fuck is Luke here? You know, he's the most powerful Jedi in the galaxy. Like, what is he afraid of? Like, you know, where's his order? Like, you know, I don't know. It just, there was too many questions, and it just felt so unfinished that I think it was just such a failure, you know, which sucks. Because, you know, as you know, and as people know, I'm a massive Star Wars fan, and all I wanted was for those movies to be good, and they just really weren't.
Yeah.
It sucks.
It's a pain in the ass, dude. When, like, well, it's just creative differences, not wanting to check the, you know, source material, not wanting to go by the books. I was just talking to someone about this. Like, it said, it would have been so much cooler had they gone through the extended universe and like actively like pulled from all the stories that they had, you know, with
Mara Jade and everything, and
Mara Jade and Luke kind of like joining with like the dark side for a while, but at the same time doing his best to resist it. But then by the time that like things were getting a little out of hand, he was starting to kind of be influenced, and he was like trying to pull himself back from it and whatnot. Like the fact that his kids, like, you know, help him to pull out of that darkness. And you know, and even in the later books when we find out that like Cade Solo and or is it Cade Solo or Cade Skywalker? I can't remember. Basically he's like one of the most powerful Jedi ever to exist, because he's actually in the gray, where like he kind of dabbles in both the dark and light sides, and he actually learns to like he actually figures out how to revive a person and bring them back to life. And it's like, that's all the shit that we wanted, you know, back in the day. Like in the prequel series, like we saw that, like, you know, Anakin wanting to prevent like wanting to prevent deaths, wanting to prevent, you know, like, you know, Padme's death, and, you know, trying to find a way to obtain the power necessary so that she wouldn't die, but then ultimately fulfilling that destiny, because he's the reason why she ended up, you know, dying from giving birth, because she was so stressed out. And then she, you know, she gave birth to the twins and whatnot. And so like, it's so good. Like it carries over. And then like, you get this, like, finally like this moment of like, holy shit, someone actually did it. And it's so good.
It's so frustrating that in episode 9, Rey's just able to heal and they don't even make a big deal out of it.
No.
It's so fucking stupid, man.
And then they kiss.
Yeah. Like the person who's been like the villain and her arch nemesis for the entire thing, she just falls in love with in 20 seconds, and in the last movie. You're one right, like they literally were working on the script for the movie as they were shooting it, and she didn't even know who she was while they were filming episode 9. So they didn't even know where they were going. Do you know what I mean? Episode 7 had a clear vision. J.J. Abrams had a vision of what he wanted to do. Then they brought in Ryan Johnson. He went a completely different way with it. And then they're like, oh, shit, let's get J.J. back because everyone liked episode 7. J.J., fix everything, fix it all. And then he goes in a direction. And then I heard as well that when he was sitting at the premiere, his final cut wasn't the movie that they aired. So he was sitting watching the premiere of the film going, what the fuck is this? This is my movie. And they cut out so much and changed so much in the post-production and editing of the film that his final cut wasn't the actual movie that was submitted. So
It's ridiculous, man.
oh bro, it's so stupid, man. So stupid. Yeah, like it's just crazy that a Star Wars fan like Theory can just sit down and make more sense of it. Now I know obviously it's a bit easier
It's just a theory.
it's easier to sit there and tell a story and go, this is what they should have done. Obviously putting those ideas to the big screen is harder to do, but do you know what I mean? It's Disney, it's Star Wars, it's a $4 billion IP. Like, they should be able to make anything possible. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're working on these crazy $300 million movie budgets. Like, why can't they just tell these stories? But that's a conversation for another day, I suppose. Hey guys, this is Finto. Thank you so much for watching the video. If you're new to the channel, please hit subscribe and like, and let us know in the comments what you think below. See you in the next one. Bye bye.